Just finished church. It was a lovely service, really good as always. But as I'm walking back, it got me thinking about how different church is today compared to what it was like when I was a kid. When I was a kid, when I used to go to church with my family, you know, my mum used to wake us up on a Sunday morning. Everyone used to have a bath, and then you used to get ready and you used to put your best clothes on. You know, you used to put your trousers on and your shirt, and you get your shoes shined, and you'd be ready for church, and you walk to church, and the vicar would always be there at the church door with his black and white uniform on, with his white collar, and he'd greet you, and then you'd go in and you'd find a seat, and there'd be these wooden benches, and they're really uncomfortable, I'll be honest with you. But if you was an adult, you might get a cushion, but if you was a kid, you had no chance because there was a limited amount of cushions. And then there was all these old-fashioned hymn books, and there's something quite nice, I guess, and kind of it's causing a bit of nostalgia, I think, while I think about it. But it was good in some ways for them times. And then the vicar would do his preaching, you know, and what I always remember very clearly is the sound of, like, the kind of high-pitched sound of the elderly women that used to sing the hymns, because it was always old-fashioned hymns. And if I compare that to today, it's so different, like so different. We hardly ever sing hymns, although we do, but they're more worship songs now. And I think that church has really moved on in a lot of ways, and I think it needs to. And one thing I have noticed is a lot more multicultural now, because the church that I go to, for example, I think there's over like 25 different nationalities represented, which is amazing. So it's so multicultural and I love it. So many different people, God's people, coming to worship God. But really, within reason, people wear what they want now. You still get the people who turn up in their suits, but then you get people like me that might go in there, jumper and a shirt and jeans and shoes, for example. But the most important thing is turning up to worship God. And it's changed so much, and no longer do you just have one person, or we don't just have one person that preaches every week. We have the pastors, which, I'll be honest with you, they're really nice, young, trendy people. The pastor and his wife. They're both location pastors, actually. But we don't always have the same speakers. We have guest speakers, we have different people speaking about the word, and it's always relatable, you know. It's not just preaching the word, it's relatable to what goes on in life. Do you know, how can you apply it to your life today? And there's some really good lessons learned, and I don't think it's moved on a long way, and I really like the way it is at the moment. I find it really engaging, and I don't know, have you been to church today?